So in this video I want to talk to you about purchase lease options, what they are, how you can use them to generate money on a property that you don't own. So purchase lease option is basically the option for you to purchase a property at an agreed price today. So for instance, if you found a landlord or homeowner that was in, for example, say negative equity, they were about to be repossessed, and they're looking for a way out, instead of them having the house repossessed and them losing everything, you could agree with the landlord to do a purchase lease option, which basically means that you take over the owner's mortgage payments for them. So for instance, say if somebody's been made redundant, so they've got a property, they've just lost their job, they're now behind on their mortgage payments, and they're at the point where they're about to be repossessed. Purchase lease option could be a good solution for that particular person, because if that landlord or the owner is in negative equity, say, they can't sell the property because there's not enough money in there for them to pay off the mortgage which is owed. So let's say, for example, the property is worth £100,000, and the owner has remortgaged that property for £120,000. Say a few years ago, house prices may have dropped a little bit, especially nowadays. The housing market's starting to come down slightly, so you may find people that are in negative equity, if they've lost their job and now they can't pay their mortgage, they're just looking for a way out. So you could agree to purchase that house off them for £120,000, but say in 5 years' time. The benefit to the person that will agree to do that is that they can literally just walk away from that property, the mortgage is going to be paid, and they're not going to be repossessed. Also, when you come to buy that property off them, say in 5 years' time, for £120,000, they're still going to be making £20,000 profit from that one property, as opposed to being repossessed and potentially becoming bankrupt and losing all of their money. So what would be the benefit of agreeing say a price of £120,000 with a landlord or an owner of a property when it's actually only worth £100,000? Well, historically, over time, house prices do tend to go up. Now, for instance, if you find an owner of a property which you could generate income on that property for the duration of the 5 years that you're also going to be taking control of that property, for instance, if you turn it to a 4-bedroom HMO and you could make, for example, £500 a month, that's £6,000, £6,000 a year. Over 5 years, you're going to make £30,000 profit off that property. And over the 5 years, when that property, when you come to purchase that property, the house prices, the price of that property may be worth £140,000. So you've actually made £20,000 profit from buying the property, because you're buying it at 120 and actually now it's worth 140. Plus you've also made the £30,000 for the 5 years that you've been renting it. So you would make £50,000 profit potentially off that one property. The benefit of it is you don't have to pay any deposits. So if you was going to just go and buy that house off the landlord for £120,000 with a 25% deposit, then you're going to be looking at about £30,000 deposit that you've got to put down initially to initially get that property. Plus you've got your solicitor's fees and any other conveyancing fees or anything else like that. So with a purchase lease option, you can literally sign and pay them £1. So you can draw up an agreement. This is the terms. I agree to buy it off you for £120,000 in 5 years' time. I will take over the payments of your mortgage, and then you both sign it. You pay them £1, which is the transaction to make this contract legally binding, and then you can then maybe potentially turn that property into a 4-bedroom HMO, generate £500 or more profit on it, 30k over 5 years, plus maybe an extra 20 grand when you come to buy the property, because it doesn't necessarily have to be you that buys that property. You've got the piece of paper that says I'm going to give you £120,000. If you can sell this property in 5 years' time for £140,000 to somebody else, they're going to pay £140,000. The landlord that you're buying it off is getting 120, and you get to keep the 20 grand. So it's a win-win situation all round, really. Maybe not for the person who's buying it £140,000, potentially, depending on what they're going to do with it. But it's a good way to control property for the cost of £1.